WWE is changing the game this week. Also competing with All Out AEW, and we've got a lot to discuss here. This is the HSP on the Give Us a Shot Network. Trendsetter, good to be here with you once again. Again, follow us on all our social media at High Spot Podcast. This is, of course, HSP Podcast on Give Us a Shot. Make sure you like and subscribe and do all those things. And if you can't watch us, listen to us on all podcast platforms as you listen to HSP, available to you on all major podcast platforms. Trendsetter, lots to discuss. How you doing, man? The fall air, maybe not there yet because we're getting nice weather so far, so it's a little bit of a tease, but saying goodbye to the summertime and hello to fall, and we've got WrestlePalooza and All Out to discuss. What's up, Trendsetter? How you doing?
Hey, man, it's good to see you again doing your whole Pat McAfee look. I kind of like it. Didn't think you'd be able to pull it off, but you have. Nothing you said there was exciting about the weather changing at all. There's nothing exciting about that going into the summer to the fall. It wasn't a long enough summer for me, but you know what? Can't stop it, right? But I'm excited for the fact that you just said it right in the beginning. WWE is literally changing the game from how you and I perceive, wrestling in terms of the reach and where it's going. And especially the one thing that you and I are always excited about, my Christmas per se, WrestleMania and the things they're doing with that as well. So excited to be on and talking about that right now.
You just mentioned a little Pat McAfee, and he's gonna be there. He's gonna be there at WrestlePalooza. He's gonna come back to the commentary, and so is Wade Barrett. So
that's convenient, right? How convenient.
Chug a beer, chug another beer. That's my Pat McAfee. But yeah, I'm rolling the sleeveless because I feel good today. It's a little warm here in the studio, but I'm going to do my best, Pat McAfee, and try to change it up, maybe add some more liveliness to the show. But you talked about changing the game. We talked about WrestlePalooza, but now let's talk about something else that happened this week that's got everybody crying, Trendsetter. It's got the IWC going, oh no, they're taking it away from us. You sold out, WWE. You sold out. Of course, that is. They found out something that, we've been knowing for the last 10 years, that WrestleMania is going to the Saudis. It's going to Riyadh in 2027. That's right, guys. You have a 1.5 year notice to get your packages, to get everything sorted out so you can go to Saudi Arabia. And guess what? HSB has been approved for credentials to Saudi Arabia. Our first ever trip to Saudi Arabia. I cannot wait to be in that desert heat, get on those camels, and head over to Riyadh and cover WWE for HSP and give us a shot. I just can't.
You're the only one looking forward to that right now.
But I mean, finding that out, no surprise, because you knew that this was leading up to them making this press conference, and we saw Crown Jewel and the Greatest Royal Rumble, and this has been something that's going on for the last 10 years. What's the other one? The Night of Champions, all that stuff just kind of was building up to this, and then it finally hit, and now everybody's crying. Everyone feels like they're taking WrestleMania away from us, and I guess you kind of knew that this was coming, but of course, still that WrestleMania 43 announcement, I was not taken aback. I was not disappointed. This is, at the end of the day, this is a company, TKO, which we made it very clear that they're after the money, as much money as they can. They want to squeeze every single juice of this WWE machine. And no surprise, this is going to Saudi Arabia.
No question. I mean, I thought right from the beginning, prior to the previous administration, that it was, there was the deal with Saudi Arabia and they're going to hold events there, and they wanted to make it feel like a WrestleMania feel for these events. You just mentioned, Crown Jewel, Clash of Champions,
Night of Champions.
Night of Champions, King and Queen of the Ring. They wanted to have there as well. Listen, it was just a matter of time what was going to happen. I thought now with the merger for TKO, it was going to happen sooner than later. What really set it off for me thinking it was going to happen a lot quicker than we anticipated was the fact that when you looked at all the events WWE was doing overseas and the crowd reaction they're getting, I'm separating Saudi Arabia from the equation right now. There was always at that point talks more than ever before, because always talked about, but never really thought in a serious way. Can you have WrestleMania outside the United States? And then you saw that European tour they had where literally after WrestleMania 40, it seemed like every other PLE was in, Europe, in someplace, France, London, you name it, right? Germany. And the excitement there, which kind of made made the fact that when they came back to the States, like when you saw the PLEs there, like the crowd was like really dormant. I even remember saying to you, man, listen, when they go back to USA, they got a lot to live up for right now because they're chanting names. They're going crazy for minuscule things. It was just brought the type of atmosphere around it. And now with this, it just makes sense. But I'm sure a lot of people were upset because they're thinking, oh, France or London. They want London for WrestleMania. First WrestleMania going to be outside the United States is going to be Saudi Arabia. I think that deal was working. I could be wrong on my numbers here, but over 100 million. So listen, you got to go towards the money. It's a business decision. And you know what? You may not like it, but it makes sense for the WWE right now.
So I think honestly that people are just upset because it's in Saudi Arabia. Let's be honest that if it was in London, okay, you make a trip to London and you go across the pond and you head over and you go to the UK and you have some fish and chips and you go see wrestling at Wembley Stadium. That's what everybody wanted. That's what everybody thought was going to happen. Wembley deserves it. The UK fans you look at how much AEW does over there in Wembley. Imagine what WWE can do there for 2 nights. But because it's in Saudi, that's the reason why I think people are upset. They have this, I guess, stereotype of Saudi Arabia. I don't blame them because obviously, because of political beliefs and the way, obviously, the whole treatment of women over there, which from you call it propaganda or not, that it's improving, and obviously that the female wrestlers have a strong hold here because they've been part of the advancement in Saudi Arabia. I can't get into the political stuff because I would be foolish to even try to talk about those kind of policies. But I'm talking about a place that is buying everything, trendsetter. I mean, they got Tom Brady doing a flag football tournament because they can freaking afford it. You know what I mean? Like they have tons of money, oil money or blood money that everyone's talking about, so they can buy whatever they want. I mean, they just did in Las Vegas. They had the Crawford and Canelo fight, right? And 70,000 fans, over $40 million in gate. I believe. So right now, the center of sports is going to be in Saudi Arabia, and I think that the patriotic fans are upset because it's Saudi Arabia, right? I think that's the main point. I think that if it was in London, people would be happy. People think they deserve it. But because we have this stereotype of Saudi Arabia, they were flooded on their YouTube with "you sold out, you sold out, you sold out." And you got to think, Trendsetter, too, that it's got to be a political thing, too. There's this stereotype that we have of Saudi Arabia. And I think that's another reason why we're so opposed to a WrestleMania or them getting it first, because we don't think we, in quotations marks, don't think that Saudi Arabia deserves it. Let's be honest, right?
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, the reason why people are upset, fact, is that it's in Saudi Arabia. All right, I get it, but the same people are saying you sold out. Let's be honest, they're going to buy in because these are the same individuals that complain about the pricing of the tickets that you and I have talked about before. How TKO is continually pricing up their sales and going to continually do that coming next year as well, and leading to 2027 as well. Can only imagine how much that ticket's going to cost, and people are still going to buy in. So until there's this huge thing that this huge uproar in the internet wrestling community of hating the fact that in Saudi Arabia, the first WrestleMania is going to be outside the United States will be there rather than a lot of people wanted to be in London, for example. Yeah, they just hate the location. That's what it is. And for people who it's like, oh, you sold out WWE, it's easy for me to say it, right? But until you own a company like that and that kind of money's thrown at you, whether you consider it to be, blood money or whatever the case might be, until you can make that decision, you can hate all you want and you could say you sold out. But for those same individuals, so many other people are going to be buying into it. And especially around that area, we've seen the success of, the Greatest Royal Rumble, Crown Jewel, all those PLE events. Let's see if WrestleMania even brings more of a revenue. And if it does, and it's successful, which I'm sure they're hoping it to be because of all the money being thrown their way.
See, Trent said, I don't even think they care about revenue. I just think, hey, I have all this money, I can buy it. They want to do this card where, and again, too, where people are upset is because now that
You
they
mean
can
Saudi
buy
Arabia
it,
or WWE? Because it's money for them.
it's money for WWE. It's about $250 million that WWE is getting from Saudi Arabia to do WrestleMania. But I'm telling you that Saudi doesn't care if they make a profit. To them, this is just, we have the money. We want WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. We want a sporting event. This is what we've always wanted.
No, I wasn't talking about Saudi Arabia making a profit, Jeff. I was talking about WWE making a profit.
Yeah, I get that, but I think it's to where Saudi Arabia does not care what happens. They can make $0 on this, and they're going to continue to get it. they want whatever they want right now. They can get. Obviously, we talked about the whole football players that they're getting there. They can get whatever they want there. They want there to be a center of boxing. They want to be the center of soccer. All this stuff over there. And if they can too, I wanted to ask you. I want to go in two different directions here because this is something I got to give credit to. Gorilla Position, which is a great podcast talk show, and this is a tweet that they said. Basically, if Turkey Sheikh is willing and able to spend obscene amounts of money with WWE annually for their tentpole PLEs like he's done with Rumble 26, Mania 27, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that TKO would essentially sell WrestleMania to the Saudis, so it happens there every year. It would be the 40 plus decade long institution of the U.S. WrestleMania model. But if the price is right, I believe they'd be willing to do it. Meanwhile, WWE would simply create a new replacement. Meanwhile, WWE would create a simple replacement annual flagship PLE brand to the U.S. market, and its name WrestlePalooza. Just saying, that is something that you don't think that they would do it, but it's not Vince McMahon. It's TKO. And you talk about a big name. You talk about how much money you could sell the name of WrestleMania, and the Saudis would want that. They would jump at it in a heartbeat. And all the fans, could you imagine the fans here, the uproar of selling WrestleMania and us having, I think the worst thing is us having to adjust and call our event WrestlePalooza, which I'm not a big fan of the name. I know CM Punk isn't, but could you imagine if you think TKO would be willing to sell the name WrestleMania to the Saudis?
100%. What you just said makes absolutely 100% sense. Do I think it's right? Do my personal opinion, would I want that to happen? Absolutely not. When you think of WrestleMania, you're so connected to it here in the States, but like from a business standpoint, like I said, whatever works for them, and there's always a price, to quote the $1 Million Man, everyone's got a price. In the scenario here, that could possibly happen. I could see it, because then why would they bring up the name? And you and I chuckled about it because we kept thinking about our ECW days where there was a thing called ECW WrestlePalooza, and now they're naming this. So it starts to kind of make sense, because if you're going to kind of go that direction, which I think is a possibility, and you sell the rights to WrestleMania out to the Saudis for God knows how long for the right price, hey, we need something to substitute it. WrestlePalooza, we just won't use the name Mania. So as far-fetched, as ridiculous as it might sound to some people, to me, I could see it happening. I hope it doesn't happen anytime soon, but I could see it happen.
It's not going to happen next year or this year or 2 years from now, but the price is right. Saudi Arabia will get WrestleMania the name, and we'll have two separate shows. It's just the changing, the evolution of the times. You think you're going from one enemy that in Vince to another enemy that you're willing to trust and give him the benefit of the doubt. And there was that honeymoon phase where we're like, oh, after all the accusations on Vince McMahon, we're like, oh my God, this is a breath of fresh air. Hunter, Triple H is behind the creative. It's more chance for the talent. And then obviously we start trickling down to, oh, it's too long. We're SmackDown. Raw has been boring. We're getting the same kind of main events. Now people are, even no matter what Vince has been accused of, now you hear the people, well, if Vince had this back, it'd be more family orientated. Once the prices start going up and it's going up and going up, you're missing that enemy that you knew before that you were complaining about, but now you wish you kind of took it back. All I'm saying is that whatever you think of the man, Vince McMahon, a lot of people in the last month or so have been clamoring for him. I wish he was back. I wish that it was at old school. And to mind you, you had some problems with Vince back then too, with his booking and everything like that. But how crazy is it that you go to the enemy that you knew and you leave to the enemy that you don't know, and now you want to go back, right?
It's not far-fetched to me to believe that. How many times have we complained about something like, oh, we're so sick and tired of Brock Lesnar. He's gone. Now he's back. And obviously people are upset about it. And we'll talk about it in a few when we break down the card for WrestlePalooza. And he became a commodity. Oh, he doesn't defend the title when they had the Universal title every single night or every single PLE. Not because he's special. He was an attraction at that point. Still is, in my opinion. And then Roman Reigns, oh, this title reign is too long. Oh, you're burying other talent. Then what happened? Roman Reigns left. And as soon as he left, people chanted, we want Roman. Well, you had him for 3 years and you're so sick and tired of him. You wanted somebody else to take the title and move on and put a new face behind the company. And now you want Roman back. And now you're not happy with the current champion or champions or whoever they are, right? everyone's always going to complain about something. Listen, to me, despite the fact of the deals that were going on with the old regime with Vince McMahon, my biggest thing was I felt Vince was just out of touch with the fan base. Now, we had that honeymoon phase with Triple H and Nick Khan, and obviously the culmination of it was the WrestleMania 40 with finishing the story. And like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then every other PLE after that was exciting going forward. But then it started kind of turning the opposite way. It kind of went 180. And then all of a sudden, I was it's getting really difficult for me to get excited for these. And, if you're Triple H or Nick Khan, the defense is going to be, well, for Triple H standpoint, it's like, well, they all can't be home runs. It's a long story. And, it's been kind of boring because last year's WrestleMania build up was nothing. And I'm not trying to compare it to the last year's, but it wasn't really a good build up. It was really difficult for you and I to get excited or mark out for these storylines that were leading into WrestleMania 41. So, hope better luck next time for 42, which is going to happen again next year. But listen, from your standpoint, Jeff, when you look at it and compare both regimes, right? And now we've seen enough of Triple H and Nick Khan and what's going on with TKO and Vince. Would you consider going back to Vince if that was the scenario?
Only because I could afford to go. Basically, that's the main reason. I'm not gonna lie, Trendsetter. I'm not gonna be here and stand on a pedestal and look down on Vince McMahon for his fault. Sicko, sick for what he did. All that stuff that comes out. We're still waiting for this trial to happen. God knows when that's gonna happen. So more stuff is gonna come out. Not condoning anything that the man's done, but I would want him back in a heartbeat simply because of the ticket prices. Ticket prices are obscene right now. I don't even want. I don't even want to go to some of these events too, because again, it just prices you out, and I feel bad for the families, which is why we're going to get in touch with real quick. We're going to talk about AEW real quick because they're going to have All Out, and they also were in the news this week as well, because there's a calling for, hey, you're taking WrestleMania away from us in the States. We need a void. There's a void. What's going to happen? No, it's going to be like for the other smaller companies that piggyback off of Mania. What's going to happen to the economy here as far as wrestling for April or March or whatever WrestleMania is? There's going to be a void, and there's a chance for Tony Khan to fill this void. Listen, we know TKO is about the money. They don't, they are about the money. And I talked to you last week saying, hey, this is a perfect opening for AEW to not beat WWE because they're not going to do that, but to take away the family aspect of WWE because that's what they were. They're about the families, right? They're about the kiddies. But now, they want the cash. But here's a perfect chance. Everyone's saying, Tony, please, you've got to come save us. You got to save us in 2027. You got to have an event for all wrestling fans here in the States because people flock to the States. They save up for WrestleMania. They save up for that, and they don't have anything unless they go save up for Saudi Arabia. I would love to see Brock Lesnar guy go to Saudi Arabia and see him there, see if he would plan a trip there. But
he will. How can he afford it? I have no idea. But
now this is Tony Khan has a chance to step up here and maybe start taking away that fan because WWE has set themselves open while they went for the money. They set themselves open for something in the States because they're going to be on around in the afternoon, right? Whether it's 2 nights of Mania, whatever, they're going to be on in the afternoon. There's going to be something needed at night. So if you're Tony Khan, AEW Revolution, make it a weekend, put it in Texas, in Chicago, right? Make it a 2-night affair, a 1-night affair, and you have a convention around that. Tony Khan in the media call for All Out said he is looking into doing that in 2027. And I think at first I was like, sure, just call on Tony and he'll open up his pockets and he'll do it. But all he's got to do is move a pay-per-view into that spot, and it's no biggie. I think it's a great time for AEW to try to take some of those fans away, the fans that feel like WWE has turned their backs on them because now they're all about the money. Do you think that this is an opportunity for AEW to take some of those fans away from WWE?
Yeah, I think it's an amazing opportunity for AEW, especially Tony Khan. But from my belief of what Tony does right now, I think right now from this point on to 2027, a lot of work has to be done. Now, I could be wrong and really be cynical about this when I say it, thinking that, when I look at the current product now, what AEW is doing, it's more for, people who are just specifically into that demographic. I've mentioned that before to you. So can you open it up to a wider audience right now? Because he's really kind of just showcasing it to the fans that kind of want those dream matches, those scenarios that you don't always see, that you can't do on a consistent basis. And listen, I'll admit some of the storylines they've done recently have, everything that Tony Storm's been doing right now has been complete and utter fire. So that works. but can you start doing that consistently enough where do you have the talent to build it up? Now, AEW's been known for, using or exaggerating the thing of the four pillars and the talent, the young talent you have there. If by that time in 2027, you can build off of that rather than ex-WWE stars, who knows if they'll still be there in 2027, there's a huge opportunity for AEW, despite the fact that it might not be doing so well right now and people want to talk about ratings and things like that. It is a tremendous opportunity for Tony and AEW to be that bridge like you talked about. Now, when you say they're losing fans or they're, yeah, I understand. Yeah, they're pricing people out, but these are the same fans too. And listen, it could reach a point from this point on, 2027. Hard to believe to think that far ahead, but it could be so priced out right now where you're 100% right. All of a sudden, people are going to feel betrayed. Not that they don't feel kind of that way already, and say, this is just way too much. I can spend 3 or 4 nights watching an AEW event for the cost for just one night of a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia or whatever the case might be, whatever PLE you're talking about.
Right now they might not feel it, but when you head to maybe November of 2026 and you start feeling that WrestleMania season and you start that excitement that you're like, oh, where I'm going to travel, where I make the plans to go, and you don't have anywhere to go this year, that's when WWE is going to feel it, because I think that they did not consider or heavily consider making the decision, knowing that they leave themselves wide open for them to be counter programmed by AEW. So we've had WWE counter program AEW. We're going to have that same situation on Saturday. So why not AEW do that to WWE? And I think that when maybe right now there's not that vibe that we don't need this thing from Tony to save the wrestling landscape in 2027. But as we head closer to WrestleMania in Saudi, and we have that void here, I think that's where the fans are going to be like, you know what, enough is enough. And listen, WWE's a machine. They probably won't feel it, but they'll start feeling it once those families, because family is not just one, it's 2, 3, 4, 5 people, and that's that next generation. And AEW could pull in a good amount of fans in their favor, I think.
Listen, I think it's a calculated risk. I think WWE is understanding what they're doing here. You could think maybe it's more of an arrogant move because, 1 year off, it's not going to happen. Like I said, an opportunity for AEW, an opportunity for Tony in this scenario. But I think they're willing to accept that calculated risk, thinking that they do this in Saudi Arabia once, or let me say it correctly, Saudi Arabia, not mutter my words there, once, and come right back, and then all shall be forgiven. So we'll see. Again, it's a calculated risk. It's a business move for them in terms of money and finance. So I don't think they're thinking of the long-term effect it might have. But again, a huge opportunity for Tony, AEW, or any other company besides AEW that want to take advantage of this. And here's an opportunity in 2027. Let's see what happens.
So interesting that All Out is this Saturday as well. They moved their show to the afternoon because WrestlePalooza will take over on ESPN on that app. We'll get to the app as well too, because we're a few minutes away from previewing WrestlePalooza. But the card is huge. It's like 13. So there's no point of doing a preview here because we'd be here all night and we don't want to do that for you. So the only thing I'm going to say is this about the main event, which I believe should be the main event. It's Kyle Fletcher against Adam Hangman Page. Is this? You're talking about 2027 and building that, right? You're talking about the pillars. I'm glad you mentioned the pillars because let's be honest, the Sammy Guevara's of the world, no. To me, Jack Perry's, you know how I feel about him. Not a pillar. But now
how do you feel about him? I have no idea.
Boy, just listen, go to the archives and then you'll see how I feel about him. Yeah. Waste of fucking time. So talk about this guy, Kyle Fletcher, because a lot of people are saying that there's no way that Kyle Fletcher will be Adam Hangman Page. There's that feeling that this is just a matchup where Hangman Page is going to win. Here's where I say this. This to me, when I look at Hangman Page is young enough and Kyle Fletcher's definitely young enough, this could be building up to something. Kyle Fletcher could take that mantle, and I'm not a fan of him that he's in the Don Callis family because I'm not a fan of that either, but I'm a fan of Kyle Fletcher. I don't think it would be the wrong move to put the championship on him. To put that title on him and then have Hangman chase it. And if he gets it back the next pay-per-view, so be it. But you want to create that shock and awe, and you want to create a star. Kenny Omega's out. Will Ospreay just had neck surgery. Maybe you don't see him in a year, right? Swerve Strickland is out. This is your perfect opportunity where I think that the stars have aligned for Kyle Fletcher to become that next guy. And you need to have that next guy because the way they wrestle these guys here in AEW, the lifespan is not too long, I don't think, past 35. Kenny Omega's breaking down. Darby Allin is one more bump away from exploding before our eyes. So this guy, who everyone compares him to Randy Orton, right, and Kyle Fletcher. To me, it's the right opportunity to put the world title on him, and I don't believe it hurts Hangman Page. I think this would make a star, and I think that the right move is to put that title on him at All Out.
I can't say, and I hate agreeing with you, that I disagree with that move,
You
because to
disagree?
me,
Oh, okay.
no, I can't say I disagree
Oh,
with it,
okay.
meaning I agree.
Okay.
Don't get used to it. It doesn't happen very often.
It's shocking.
It
Must be
does.
the going sleeveless. You're
Like,
intimidated by my
check the
trap.
archives there, Pat Mack. If you check the archives, it doesn't happen very often that I agree with Jeff. Hardly, rarely, because we differ in terms of our vision. But like I said, and I don't know if you're doing this to plant for 2027, because that's really too far ahead. But when you spoke of the names that are out right now, and you said long-term longevity, right? Well, a lot of the fact that the longevity of all these stars that we're seeing in AEW not being around there much longer is because of the style in which they're doing it. The style isn't built for that type of thing, for you to have a lengthy career in that style. I mean, just look at, John Moxley, who God knows how much longer he's in, and just every time I see him, he looks like he's in physical pain.
Well, I think I would say Kenny Omega is the guy because he went hard for a good 10 years. And now you're seeing the effects of it. Like a guy like Ibushi went hard for like 10. And now so guys like that you're looking at, like that are going like 150 miles an hour. Those are the guys that break down. Kyle Fletcher can be this guy trendsetter, I believe, that can just be the guy. And all he needs doesn't have to have the title for like a lengthy reign. Just hold that title, make him credible that he was a world champion, and you can have a nice rivalry between Page and Fletcher for the whole rest of the year.
Yes, but the thing is, you mentioned a Kenny, Ibushi. The thing is, as much as I love Kenny Omega, let's be honest, he's not the same Kenny Omega that I fell in love with in New Japan.
No.
There was nothing, even when he had his lengthy title reign during COVID, he was injured. It just wasn't the same Kenny Omega. And even during his return back, it's not the same guy that I wanted to see. I want to see the cleaner. Maybe it's more like, hey, Brian, it's different. New Japan is different than AEW, whatever. I want to see that guy. I have not seen him. I thought Kenny could be a guy that could reach out to the audience that AEW was trying to build, but the connection's not there. With Kyle, what I like about him is the fact that, to me, I think he can be that bridge. To me, when I look at him, and we saw him during his time of Ring of Honor as well, I looked at him, and listen, I'm no expert here, but like I can see kind of an it factor with him. Like, he kind of walks and looks like a star. And I look at him now physically, looks amazing. I want to put a title on him and make him kind of the face of my company. Nothing against Adam Hangman Page. I've always loved him, but you need somebody there. It's easy when you complete something similar to a Cody Rhodes story for Adam, which is what he had to deal with to get there. Super happy for him that it happened. But it's nicer when you have that heel champion that you're chasing after to give people more sympathy and want to root more for Adam. So it works both ways. So, yes, I agree. I think that should happen. He should be a double champion, because I think right now, currently, he's the TNT champion right now.
He is the TNT champion, yep.
To be a double champion, it puts more eyes on him. Whether he's ready for it or not, it's just going to put more shine on him. So like you said, if he does lose the title down the road, it's okay, because we've already put him in that spotlight. Usually first reigns, whether you're a TNT champion or the world champion, are not always going to be successful. I think it does Adam a service as well, because it kind of takes that pressure off him carrying it, him chasing again, the crowd getting behind him to get back something that might be robbed from. Who knows how the outcome might be on that one. But yes, I think Kyle should walk out of All Out as champion. It would turn the dial and the mindset of like, oh, this is so predictable or nothing. Do that shot. Give it a shot. Give it to somebody right now, because, and people are going to hate me when I say this. We might clip this later. I don't, as much as I appreciate and respect a guy like Will Ospreay, to me, he is not a star that can transition, because not only from a physical standpoint can he last that long, but I think Kyle is above him in terms of he stood toe-to-toe with the best that AEW had to offer to Will Ospreay in those matches, which I thought he should have gone over in a couple of those. I think Kyle's in the right position right now. I would love to see him walk out of All Out as AEW World Champion.
He's had a fast track, and I think because of the injuries, sometimes you need that fast track. I don't think if there were no injuries, I don't think he'd be in the spot he is right now. But it could be a blessing for a guy like Fletcher, because this is where he's at, because of hey, listen, the buys are down, and you are a upstart. And I think, again, it doesn't have to be a lengthy title run, but get that title on him, have him win it, do something where he gets out of the Callis family, or if you want to keep him heel, fine. But him winning is very important because that would make him, it would solidify him. I don't want to hear that does nothing for him, because it's like, it's unexpected or he doesn't deserve it. It's not his time. Bullshit. Because this will solidify him as a main event player, and that's what you need. You need to have main event players because of the injury situation. All right, so it's a good card. It's not a oh my god, take my breath away card, right? So we'll talk about that on our post show. But we also want to announce that after WrestlePalooza, we will have, and we'll be on the Give Us a Shot Network YouTube. We will be going live. We will be there, and we will be talking about WrestlePalooza. We'll have our post show. Now, we usually do it on IG Live, but this time we're doing it on the Give Us a Shot. Because of the 40,000 subs on Instagram that we want to thank you for, we're going to do a YouTube Live for you talking about WrestlePalooza. WWE is changing the game, and we're going to go along with it too. We're going to raise our game, and this Saturday we'll have a post show immediately after WrestlePalooza. We'll talk about WrestlePalooza, talk about AEW All Out, and we'll have it all for you guys. And we want to hope you join us here on the Give Us a Shot Network so that you can check with us after WrestlePalooza. The Trendsetter and I will be on here. We'll take, we'll listen to your takes. We'll give us our takes about WrestlePalooza, and it should be an interesting night. The Trendsetter and I, look at those handsome sons of bitches. I mean, we just get better with age, Trendsetter. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that profile you got. Look at that beard. Look at me right there trying to like look up at you because you're like 10 feet taller than me. And, I mean, we're just two handsome SOBs.
That guy was smiling for some reason. I have no idea. I probably had more sleep during that time I took that picture, though. Yeah, no, excited, though. Yeah, great editing by Jeff. Jeff has gone out of his way to make me look a lot better than I do right now, because right now I don't feel that great, but I'm happy to be on here talking to you about this stuff. But yeah, so excited. Like you said, things are changing, times are changing. If you don't evolve, as the old expression goes, Jeff, you get left behind and you die.
Yeah, so
we need to evolve with this. So excited to be able to go on live on YouTube on Give Us a Shot Network. We love and appreciate them and everything you've done for us for the High Spot podcast. So yeah, looking forward to that right now, but also looking forward to this card to a certain degree, because looking at this card right now and the way it was designed, which you and I are going to break down in a few right now, is interesting in terms of the dynamic of what the outcomes are going to be for these storylines that are going into WrestlePalooza.
That's right. And obviously, we found out that opening up WrestlePalooza is going to be Brock Lesnar and John Cena. Now, a couple of days ago, we thought it was going to be the main event, but on Pat McAfee, it was confirmed that John Cena and Brock Lesnar will open up WrestlePalooza on ESPN. Trendsetter, are you worried about not being able to get this app going? Because I tried getting on, and for the people that do have cable, you can get it on the app. But of course, we have Verizon Fios, and I don't have a password. I hopefully I can get this resolved by WrestlePalooza. But are you worried that you're going to be shut out of this event, at least the beginning of it, because you know how to freaking work this this whole technology?
I don't think I'm worried. I think a lot of people are worried right now. This has the potential of being a huge failure in terms of one of the biggest PLEs that ESPN is going to broadcast, their first one. And right now, Jeff, it looks, from the articles I've read, for the ones you've sent me as well, there's a little panic going on right now. It's a little bit of panic where people are concerned, and so should ESPN. You spend all this money on this deal, and it looks like your app and your streaming platform is not ready for something like this. Then what the hell have you guys been doing? You only have a few more days to, or only a few more. What's called
we're at 0 hour. I would say that we're at 0 hour.
To get this done, man. Get your stuff together. Get it done and get it fixed right now. But I got a feeling, regardless of what I say right now, that you're gonna have a lot of people who are complaining. They're gonna go on social media saying that this thing is buffering. I can't get in. I'm missing this. So it's got the potential of being a big fail right now from the streaming platform service.
Cannot wait to see the people on social media with their gripes. All right, but the match itself. This is very weird, Trendsetters. It hasn't been that classic face-to-face build. The last time they even interacted was at SmackDown, where Brock basically laid them out. There's no promo back and forth. I don't know to this day what Brock Lesnar was doing with R-Truth on that segment. All I know is that the man needs to buy more secure pants, and that's about it. So this has been a very weird build to it. John Cena tried to hype it up as much as possible on Raw. And listen, we're getting down to the nitty gritty now. We're getting close to the you can't see me fingers of John Cena appearances. After this, will be 5, I believe. But the build, trendsetter. I thought I'd be more excited. Obviously, it's Cena and Brock, so it's going to be exciting. But the build to me has not been so much. I thought we'd get a face to face. We don't. But I think that it's still Cena and Lesnar. So what else can you say about that, right? I mean, I don't think there's much to say about it.
It's nostalgia, Jeff. I think it's
Yeah.
connection in terms of the fact that Brock and John both started off around the same time, and John perfectly said it himself in several interviews that he was the last of the bunch that had to get there. But in terms of success, you could say he was probably one of the brightest ones too. In terms of Brock and the history of his career in the WWE, and then him coming back, listen, it's just nostalgia and the fact that these two started together. And it's going to end. We'll never forget SummerSlam and how Suplex City was built off of John Cena's carcass, and that's what ended up happening. True, it was built off of him, and that's what we get. I think right now it's for that particular reason. It's to close the chapter, and let's be honest too. When you look at this whole story, and I think there'll be things that we'll do a separate podcast when it's all over and said and done, and John Cena's retired, of the pros and cons of this final farewell tour that he did.
Oh my God! Yeah,
we're going to talk about it and dive really in and
know.
dissect it. But in this, it's closing a chapter. He did it with Randy Orton. He did it with CM Punk. I think it's just final chapter because this was also a very well-known rivalry in John Cena's career for somebody he's had to deal with from the physical standpoint. So in terms of this, Jeff, I'm looking at it from this perspective, right? We know where John's going, and we know how many more dates he has left. This has the buildup of being a repeat, in my opinion, of SummerSlam, which I think it could be, to kind of end it and leave Brock Lesnar, knowing that he's going to be here longer than John now. He's got to destroy John Cena. That's my opinion. He's got to destroy him like he did at SummerSlam and walk out beating John Cena for one last time and ending that chapter of this rivalry between the two of them. So I have Brock Lesnar coming out victorious, reestablishing a new Suplex City with John Cena being, the casualty behind it. So that's how I feel it has to go.
I kind of think, trendsetter, that the same, because it's interesting that they're opening up the show. I guess because it gives you a better chance to swallow this John Cena loss. Because it'll give you more of a chance. Okay, we saw it happen. We got emotional, and John Cena is going to either get beat down or he's going to lose. I'm going to take it to that extent. If it had been the main event, I would have said it's a bigger chance for John Cena to come out victorious, and I see much bigger things happen. I wanted this to be more eventful, where maybe I still have that hope, and I don't know why, that son of a bitch, The Rock, to come out and be like, John Cena, you turned your back on The Rock, and now I'm going to, screw you over in your last couple of appearances in your last run, right? You wanted to see that at least, but I don't think you're going to get that. It's just wishful thinking. I think you're going to get it. Brock Lesnar beating John Cena. I'm not sure if it's going to be in a dominating fashion, although I wouldn't be surprised, but I see Brock Lesnar beating John Cena. So that's where
so
we
funny you say, Jeff, you want to see The Rock, right? Well,
son of a bitch.
You want to see Dwayne Johnson or the final boss? Because
I want to see the final boss.
If The Rock comes back, he's going to have to do a little bit more working out.
Oh, yeah.
Back to final boss form, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I gotcha. A matchup that looks to be put on the card in a little bit, and as of today, the recording, it hasn't, but we're going to go with the assumption that it will be if she's cleared or not. She's on the T-shirt for it. It's been promoted at least over there on their gift shop, on the fan shop. Tiffany Stratton's going to defend the women's championship against Jade Cargill and Nia Jax in a triple threat. So my take on this is the perfect opportunity. Now, listen, thank God Tiffany Stratton is okay. Hopefully she's cleared. She took a crazy moonsault, which I don't think she should ever do ever again. But hopefully she's cleared. And this is a perfect opportunity for Jade Cargill to become the women's champion, because I think the winner will pin Nia Jax. I think that's why she's in the match, so Tiffany doesn't lose a rub there. So I think that Jade Cargill becomes your new women's champion, and I think it's there for her. Listen, I don't know what the gripe is about Jade in the last couple of matches. I was happy with her performance at SummerSlam. I didn't think it was a bad of a match. It was short, but I didn't think it was bad. And this one that she had on SmackDown was probably her best match that she's had maybe ever. So I think she's improving enough to carry that women's championship. It's a big risk by WWE, but I think that they want star power. I think that they want Jade to be the face for a little bit. I think Jade Cargill is going to walk away to WrestlePalooza as a new women's champion.
Listen, I think Jade has improved tremendously, but I think a lot of credit has to be with the fact, and I don't think enough credit is given to Tiffany Stratton in terms of what she's done. Now, that injury she suffered, or that concussion she suffered on SmackDown, 1,000% unnecessary. Didn't need to be done. It was a worthless spot that ended up getting her injured, and amazingly, she was able to finish it. You saw Nia Jax now get herself involved, and I'm shaking my head like, here we go again with Nia Jax. Like, how many more losses does she have to take in order to kind of be out of this title? Not that I want her, but in terms of just from a perception's reality, from perceiving the fact that Nia has just lost and lost over and over again, someone like Tiffany Stratton, and she's still in that title hunt picture, kind of shows me how thin is your roster right now that Nia Jax is the only person we're putting in there right now for the SmackDown roster. I think the opposite way. I think this needs to be a scenario where it protects Tiffany Stratton. They're going to bring up the concussion issue, so it's going to give her kind of a ways out in terms of her losing the title. And I think it's going to be Nia. I think it's going to be a scenario because I think right now, as much as Jade has improved, Jeff, I still think for some reason, although we're hearing a lot more cheers for Jade, I think it's the same scenario where, like, listen, if she had been Tiffany Stratton, there might be some, boos because everyone loves Tiffany. Now in the scenario where, let's say Nia sneaks in a win, let's say Jade finishes Tiffany, about to get the pin, and then Nia comes in and steals it. I think it develops more sympathy because they're really trying hard. And I've said it to you several times before. I think Jade's better as a heel than a babyface, but they really want to push her as a babyface. I think you need to give that sympathy where she's continually chasing until she finally does it. And no better person to do it to someone like Nia Jax. So I think Nia comes out victorious as the new WWE Women's Champion.
See, this is where I think prolonging it kills it, and I think it just drains her credibility because she's become so close so many times now that she loses again. It's gonna more people are gonna be less wanting her to become the champion. It's gonna ruin her. That I guess everyone for the people that are playing for her, it's gonna be you let another one slip. What's next? And the credibility of can she win it? I think it's gonna dwindle even more. So I think that not the urgency, but I think that it is a need to put that title on her at WrestlePalooza. So I'm going to go with the fact that she wins at WrestlePalooza. But obviously, that's a good point to have her chase it again and again and and chase a little bit longer. I just think at this point it's going to be a detriment to her because people are going to be wondering her credibility. Can she win it? And are people going to still be emotionally attached to her if she loses again? So that's my question on that. So that's why I think Jade wins. So we've got Io and Stephanie Vaquer. Again, I don't know whether Stephanie Vaquer took the time to go learn English or speed up on the English. There was no injury involved. Io Sky has been kind of carrying this till the last week or so. A match I definitely want to see, and I think we talked about it on the last show about Julie and Stephanie Vaquer not getting that airtime that they need to have credibility to become the champion, to be like, hey, this is the reason why they should be the champion, to have that resume. I'm pulling for Stephanie Vaquer, but I think Io Sky is going to win this championship, and I'm just the Booker in me says because what's that next PLE that we got? Oh, that's right, Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia, and I mean, it just to me is like this is where Rhea Ripley is going to get her victory over Io Sky. This is where she's going to I get that win, that eluded victory over Io Sky, where in her hometown of Perth. So I think in order to do that, Io Sky needs to defeat Stephanie Vaquer, and I think that's what's going to happen. As much as listen, I love Io Sky, she's awesome. I'm rooting for Stephanie Vaquer, but I think Io Sky is going to beat Steph.
Listen, as much as I'm happy that Stephanie Vaquer is learning English, I could care less if she speaks a word of English.
Because wrestling is her language.
Spanish, because wrestling is her first language, and we love her for that, especially Booker T. And I can't blame and fault him on that. The guy's got good taste, if you know what I mean.
How great did we get a double? How great did we get Devil's Kiss at NXT Homecoming?
Yeah, we did, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't do it like Booker T, but that was tremendous.
Don't have to let him.
What were we
do it.
talking about?
I'll just stay there and watch, and admire. But no, I think it's ripe for the fact that listen. I would have loved to see Naomi and Stephanie. And no offense to Io, but I think right now the way it's designed, and as much as I'm also disappointed that Stephanie and Julie are not really getting the time, they're better off in NXT than what's going on right now. But to have that shine for Stephanie, happy for her. I don't think it's going to be something for her in terms of coming out as champion. I think it's going to be great in terms of showcasing her again and her leading to other storylines after this. Io will come out victorious. I think it will lead to what you said for Perth, where you'll see Mommy finally kind of getting that victory that long waited. And like in the previous one, you said like, how many times can Jade lose and people are gonna lose interest? Well, you know what? How many times was Rhea Ripley lost to Io Sky and people still want Rhea as champion? So it works both ways in this sense too, as long as you're committed to the character. And so people can't wait for that to actually happen. And what better way to defeat Io in the potential match in Perth for Crown Jewel. So I think Io is going to come out victorious in this with help from her supposed friends, Asuka. And I think that's built in the storyline as well, what's going to happen there. So, yeah, I think that's going to happen. Io's going to come out victorious. So happy for Stephanie to be in that position. I mean, in the match, Jeff. Don't get your mind in the gutter there. But, yeah super happy for Steph, but I don't think she comes out victorious. It's going to be Io.
Isn't it amazing that Rhea Ripley's been relegated to backstage segments and that she only comes out for the dark matches after Raw? What the hell is up with that? Like,
listen, it's the same thing we're feeling. Like, why isn't Julia being showcased as a United States Women's Champion?
Julia's just
why is Stephanie not doing anything right now except for this match? We haven't seen her on W programming until like an interview backstage where Adam Pearce like, give me some time. Jeez, I've been waiting for how long, and you're giving me this right now? It's ridiculous right now.
All right, 3 more matches to go. Trendsetter, the Usos reunite, and they take on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, Team Braun. I'm glad the Usos are getting back together, but there's a lot of inner conflict within Jey Uso right now because he is right now a man that is starting to see the light of Roman Reigns' advice, because where he was going, it was in the wrong path of getting stepped over. Oh boy, do I know that, right? That path is something that Jey Uso is sick of. You could see that he's really starting to take that form of what Roman Reigns is telling him to be, or just that advice that he gave him. And it's now a conflict because Jimmy Uso is trying to get that I guess that good old Jey Uso back, and Jey is conflicted. Obviously, he's got this conflict with LA Knight. Obviously, he's taking this into the matchup here against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. But as much as Jey is conflicted, I do not see the Usos coming back reunited, losing in that match. I think it's going to be the Usos winning, but I think it's going to enhance Jey Uso, because that's, to me, is going to be very interesting where the direction they go to, because it's tough because he's giving you, Trendsetter, some heel tendencies, but do you really want him to be heel when he's selling you the merch like crazy, where the aesthetic of him coming out with the yeet and all that stuff, would it be wise to start turning him a heel? It's really interesting what they're going to do with Jey, but I think they hold it off enough where they can properly have cohesion, him and his brother, and beat Braun. What do you think, Trendsetter? Are you interested in this Jey Uso conflict? And do you think that it's going to cost them, or do you think that the Usos can beat Team Braun? I'm just saying Braun because it's damn fun to say.
No, that's a good name. I like that. I was hoping they call themselves that instead of their the Vision. That's ridiculous. Team Braun makes more sense to me. If you're asking me the question, Jeff, do I think Jey Uso is going to turn heel or is better off where the divvy is going in that direction and makes sense? One word comes to mind.
Yeet.
Yeet. Because
sorry, I thought
right now, you always trying to steal my thunder, man.
No, I'm sorry. I did not read the room correctly.
It's your stupid Pat McAfee shirt, man. Honestly, it's like you really feel like
one beer,
don't you?
2 beers, 3 beers, 4. I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay. But I think it's gonna happen. I really do, because
soon, or
I think it's gonna happen soon. I think they tried it. Listen, does he sell on merchandise? Are all the crowd loves going like this? Yes, they do. They love it. It's just me oosed a thing where everyone just loves doing it and saying oosed 15 million times, right? I get it. From a fan standpoint, it's great. But this isn't the first time where somebody's been really driven hard by merchandise sales, but it hasn't stopped in the WWE form going the other direction. Just because they tried the world title reign, Listen, I'm not one here to nitpick the fact, usually first time title reigns aren't always successful. It really felt to me that the pressure was on Jay a lot. I don't think he did the best he could, but again, you could tell he felt the pressure, and they took the title off him, and now it's a scenario between Punk and Seth Rollins. But back to the point, I think this shows a new side of Jay because he's always been the lovable kind, play the crowd, wanting to do what's right. I think this version of Jay will put more layers behind them. So, as in a sense where people are excited to see the Usos back, I think can they rekindle that magic? I think really, in my opinion, it's a one-off, Jeff. I don't think there's any
Oh,
long.
really?
I
Okay.
don't think there's any long. I mean, this would help Jimmy out tremendously to tag with his brother more often. But if they lose this one,
I
I don't really
think
see it continuing. So for me, it's more for Jay to kind of showcase the fact that his whole world or perspective of what he thought things were because of his wars with Roman and him wanting to become, the own tribal chief when he had faced Roman and then Roman giving his advice before he was brutally attacked and I was off TV for a while are starting to work in his head where like, you know what I was so against when I was part of the bloodline and trying to get away, maybe I was wrong. And maybe what Roman was saying was 100% correct, which also leaves the stage open that when Roman eventually does come back during probably Survivor Series, we might have again another scenario where there's the dilemma within the bloodline where it's Roman coming in looking at Jay is like, you know, don't fall for the same things that I did. Same thing's going to happen to you. And, it's going to be this conflict within the family. I think that's what's going to end up happening. So I see it happening. I don't see the Usos winning this one. It'll be great nostalgia to see them back as a tag team because they were probably, for the longest time, one of the most dominant and the best teams in WWE history, arguably. And I think the scenario is they're so hell bent on the vision, Team Braun Bond, as you say, to be successful that I think that's what's going to end up happening at WrestlePalooza.
All right, so here's a conflict of what should be the main event. Should it be Cody and Drew, or should it be AJ Lee, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch?
What do you think?
I think it should be Seth Becky versus CM Punk and AJ. I think that should be the main event,
100%.
especially if you're not going to have anything major come out of the Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes match. I would love to see Drew get his victory and become the new champion. I think it would be it'd be a nice shakeup here. I don't think it's going to happen, so I think it's going to be the second match. So if it's the second match, I'm going to go to we'll preview that one. Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre. Again, this is another feud that really Cody's been away shooting the movie for Street Fighter. Congratulations to him. Birth of a baby girl. Congratulations to Cody. And Drew's kind of been the one that's having to set this whole feud up for Cody to come back last week on SmackDown. Obviously, that headshot that he took to the announce table, very impactful. It really made Drew stand out. But again, I love Drew. I want to root for Drew. I would love to see Drew win. I just don't see him beating Cody Rhodes.
No, me neither. I see Cody winning this one, and just disappointing in the
Like,
fact that
like uneventful. It's gonna be a good match, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be like uneventful.
for on paper it's exciting. I think just from the storyline standpoint, so much more could have been done. Drew had to carry it the entire way, similar to John Cena carrying the whole storyline for Brock. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, I wish there's more interaction between Brock and John." In my opinion, the less interaction, the better, because Brock is not great on the microphone. But if you had Cody and Drew, that would have been great, more interaction. But again, him filming the birth of his daughter, he's off TV for a while, so trying to make Drew carry it, which he's done a great job of trying to do. It just I don't feel there's any excitement for this because for the feeling that we know what direction is going to be in. I would love for them, as much as I love Cody, I would love for them to throw us completely off and say, look, Drew wins it. Oh my God, Drew actually won the title. How cool would that be? I think wouldn't be bad for Cody because right now you're hearing the boos. People are drawing attention to even Roman before he got brutally attacked and his shoes were stolen for the fifth time. He was like, oh, interesting when he mentioned Cody Rhodes' name and people were booing. So it kind of leaves a little side note in terms of what direction might we go in. But I think Cody's going to come out victorious in this one. Very disappointed in the buildup for it. Through no fault of anybody else, just a scheduling conflict. I think we're going to get a great match on paper. I'm excited to see it, but storyline, it's not CM Punk and Seth Rollins right now, so that's why I don't think it should be the main event. But I got Cody retaining the championship.
So do I. So we got AJ Lee and CM Punk. Again, Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, the women's Intercontinental Champion and the men's, well, of course, the World Heavyweight Champion, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I love everything about this. I've been intrigued. I never thought AJ Lee would be back, but watching it on SmackDown, watching the fans in Chicago get that, obviously they get a lot of cool stuff. And AJ Lee coming back was surprising to say the least. And she's back, looks better than ever. Has the abs are just amazing, off the charts. And
I wish I
CM
had
Punk,
one of those abs.
and CM Punk seems so happy to see his wife there. That's awesome sight as well. Any man to be able to be proud of his wife like that is absolutely amazing to see. And of course, Seth Rollins obviously doing his part as a heel, but as much as people are not liking the Becky Lynch heel turn, I love it. I love what she's doing. I think this has been a breath of fresh air. She's tried to be a heel a couple of times. It just hasn't clicked, hasn't worked. I think she's also enjoying working off with her husband, feeding off each other. And I think that I think it's just been a great buildup. And I think leaving AJ laying there, now whether they on SmackDown they choose to have AJ and CM Punk best Seth and Becky, I'm gonna go and say that AJ Lee and CM Punk are gonna win this one. I'm gonna think that just because the fans got to go home happy, and it'll be huge. I think that CM Punk and AJ get the victory, and this is probably going to be a fun match. This is probably going to be it's going to be interesting how AJ's got, right. It's going to be see what she's got, and I'm looking forward to it. I think this is the match I'm looking forward to the most, and I think I'll main event it. And I got AJ Lee and CM Punk winning.
Listen, I think the storyline's been great building up to this. I think, when you have the personal rivalry and the personal animosity storyline based between CM Punk and Seth, and then you add in AJ and Beth, which there is some there as well. I think it's just great chemistry and great way of just intertwining the storylines together. I mean, me personally, Jeff, and this is just me personally, I could care less about, my wife here coming back and I'm working alongside my wife. I think I look at it more in terms of the story of what it projects in terms of the excitement, because I think there's anticipation of AJ. I don't think there's much anticipation in terms of what she can do in the ring. I'm not expecting much. I think that's why it was designed this way for a tag match, because to have AJ come back in a singles match right away for being gone for over a decade would be a lot of pressure on anybody. So I think the psychology of a tag match protects everyone. And it's a nice little dynamic in terms of extending the storyline, this feud between CM Punk and Seth Rollins. So adding the wives in, sure, why not? We know AJ signed a multi-year deal, so this isn't going to be a one-off for her, which I think a lot of people thought it was going to be, where it's like just a one-off, send the fans home happy, and, we might get a scenario where we'll see here maybe down the road again. No, she is signed. She's going to be here for a while. So I'm in agreement with you. I think you want to let the crowd go home happy, but I'm going to do a 180 on you, Jeff, here. As much as I want to agree with that, I think right now you're going to end it with CM Punk and AJ losing, because here's the thing.
You're not booking for me this week, because that would just makes no sense. But
I wouldn't be booking for you right now, because I have to do the exact opposite of what my instincts are, and you just want the happy whole cookie, happy ending story. Jeff, this is real life. It doesn't happen. Grow up.
Because wrestling is real.
Thrown into your Pat McAfee shirt. Now you need to grow up and put your big boy pants on, Jeff. This is wrestling.
It's booking 101.
Mm-hmm. No, booking 101 is that, you don't want to give people exactly what they want. You want to come before. So, you want to send them home happy, Jeff. That's great. When you get a promotion, you can do that. Here, I would do the opposite, because you're building up Seth Rollins and Becky in directions where you want that heat and animosity. Because if CM Punk wins, okay, that's great, and they'll go on their separate ways, and we'll continue the single rivalry. But how great would it be if Seth and Becky, who, have caused this whole thing for CM Punk to bring his wife back, continually do it? Now, you want the payoff. When I mentioned Jade and stuff like that, how many times can they lose? How many times can CM Punk lose? And now he brought his wife in. Now his wife is injured. She'll be out for a while, and now it builds up more animosity and makes it more personal. That's what I want, Jeff, because then the payoff when CM Punk unfortunately beats Seth Rollins, it'll be sweet. But no, you want them to kill it now and not spend any more money. Okay, that's great, but I think it's going to be the opposite. I really think that
you want them to put the first ever show on ESPN that they're paying millions of dollars for, to have a people not to go.
Oh,
happy,
yes,
not
Chef,
making
because
them
heaven
know.
forbid they don't give the happy ending. People are gonna unsubscribe. Well, first of all, they're gonna unsubscribe when they can't get
Not
it
even
to begin with.
subscribe.
You know, never even subscribe. Then when
Not
they
even
do it and
subscribe.
realize they can't watch WrestlePalooza, they're gonna be like, I'm not doing this again. But I don't think you're gonna have people
$30.
unsubscribe when Becky Lynch and Seth come out victorious, because you know it's gonna be more personal. I think it's gonna be a scenario where AJ is going to be look as if she's more injured because she's talked about her neck. They've mentioned that in the promos going in. She doesn't know how her body's going to hold up. That's a great way of taking AJ off TV for a while. Becky being the integral part, or Seth being the reason behind it, and making it even more personal. So that's the way I'm going. That's the direction I'm going. I know WWE could hire me anytime they want because they know I will put butts in the seats. Unlike you, got Seth and Becky coming out victorious in this one.
All right, Trendsetter, I can't fight you. You picked a good time because you got to wind it down. So I want to say one thing before we go. Make sure you check out our post show. That's right, the HSP podcast post show, the post show on the Give a Shot Network. I don't know for these, for the homies out there, the post show for sure. But anyways, it's the HSP WrestlePalooza post show. Do that again. Put the graphic up there one more time because I want to admire. I want to admire those handsome sons of bitches. I mean, look at those guys right there. I mean, those guys have no care in the world. Those guys are just living life, watching wrestling, enjoying life. And I'm jealous of those guys. I want to be those guys. But anyways, though, Trendsetter, we're going to be on the.
What happened to those guys, Jeff?
We're going to be on the Give Us a Shot Network. We're going to be there with the post show. So immediately after WrestlePalooza, we'll be on there for you guys. So we'll take your questions. We'll give you our takes on All Out and WrestlePalooza. So make sure you check out, subscribe here on the Give a Shot Network, like and subscribe, and then also make sure you hit that notification bell for the post show after WrestlePalooza, Trendsetter.
Yes, that's right. Thank you so much, Jeff. I get it. You know, the build up for this has been great. We're really looking forward to see what the outcomes of these are going to be. If I'm right, I'm going to, stick it in your face and tell you I was right, Jeff. I have no problem saying that. But in the meantime, looking forward to the post show, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the High Spot Podcast, previewing WrestlePalooza for you guys. For Jeff Martin, I'm the Trendsetter Brian Berger. We are the Jersey Wrecking Crew. Thank you guys so much for your support. We love you guys. We love doing this because we do this for one reason and one reason only, and will always be the reason we do it. We do it for you, the crew.
See you Saturday, post show, HSP, WrestlePalooza.
Post show.
Post.